Hey everybody, how you doing? Jason Lawrence here. Headed out to a property that we're going to be building somebody's forever home on. I'm meeting my dad out at the property. My dad is definitely a land expert. He's got the ability to take a look at a survey with elevations and be standing out on site, and we can talk about where we might want to move the home or place the home in order for it to work best. And a lot of times when you're building homes, like this particular property is a 20-acre property. A lot of it is farm field, and then part of it is woods, and the clients wanted to build in the woods. And as you get into the woods, there's kind of like a big mound. It's definitely not level ground all the way through. So when you have a property like that's got some slope to it, you have the ability to be able to do a walkout basement or a daylight basement, depending on how much slope there is on the property. So there's a lot of different things that come into play. And these properties that this 20-acre property doesn't have sewer water, so we're putting a mound septic system on the property as well, and that's a pretty big. I mean, that's like 75 or even 100 by 40. That you have space that you have to account for. So we want to, and the other challenge is the property is wooded, and the clients want to save as many trees as they can. In the woods, there's a lot of different types of woods. There's scrub woods where it doesn't really matter what you cut down, and then there's hardwoods that have maple trees and hickories and oaks, and some of the trees on this property, I'll show you, are just ginormous. So it's like, you don't want to cut these things down. You'd never be able to replant a tree and have it grow and reach the height and hugeness that it is in your lifetime. So what we're doing now is we want to finalize the placement of the home, because we're going to be digging this basement in, we'll say, 2 weeks. So the process for doing something like this is, number one, you're going to meet the client out at the property and get an idea for where they want to put the house. And then number two, what you can do is have your surveyor take, if you have a footprint of the home, or maybe you just have some, hey, show me a 80 foot by 75 foot rectangle. That's going to indicate the home until we get a plan drawn up there. Have the surveyor show the footprint of the home on the lot. And a lot of these, I know, like with my surveyor, they can take and they can superimpose the footprint of the home, or this rectangle that we just talked about, over the top of the county GIS map, which has topography on it. So now you get to see the footprint of the home on top of the lot with topography. Now you can start to play around with things and know, like, okay, if we want to get exposure here or there, then we need to move it here or there. We need to rotate it a little bit. Once you think you got it down on paper, then what you do is you have the surveyor actually come back out there. And even though you have a topographical map that's on the county GIS map, you just don't know. You don't know that that's 100% accurate. You don't know when that topography is from. Things could have changed since the time they did that. So the surveyor can go back out there, or can go out there and do their initial site visit. They can do a topographical survey, basically showing all the elevations of the land, and it should match up with what's on the county map, but again, it may not. You need to know exactly what those elevations are going to be for how to place the home, how high to have the home out of the ground, so on and so forth. But when they go out there to do that topographical survey, now because you do have a survey drawing on the lot, what you can do is take and then have the surveyor do a rough stake of the home. So you've got this drawing on paper that basically shows you, where the home is, like where you've decided so far you want the home to be. So then the surveyor will take and they will put stakes in the property on the location where the home is currently shown on your survey drawing. And then now the homeowner can go back out there and they can confirm that they are good with the placement of the home, and or you know what, we want to move it a little bit. Or, you know, the other thing that this allows us to do is, once we get the rough stake and we see where the home's going to be, you know, I mentioned this lot was wooded with big trees. Well, now, and what we're going out there to do right now is to mark the trees that are going to need to get cut down. Any tree that is in within like 25 feet of the home should get cut down. You know, number one, you don't want the tree falling on the house at some point. Number two, when you're digging a basement, so I guess this is different if you're doing slab on grade, or if you're building in Texas and you're just building right on top of the ground. But in Wisconsin or other areas where you're digging a basement, the tree roots. If you're within 25 feet of a huge tree, you're gonna hit roots, and then it's probably gonna end up killing the tree over time anyways, and then you got a dead tree that could, you know, blow on top of the house. So what we're gonna do is, we can see now where the surveyor did the rough stake for the lot, and then we can take and mark the trees that you know need to come down. And in this case, the homeowner wants to preserve as many trees as they can. So they want us to take a look at where the house is and let them know, hey, if we move the home one way or another, can we, you know, save some of these trees? Because again, these huge trees, a huge 100-year-old oak tree, you're never going to be able to get that back again. So, you know, if we can move the house 10 or 15 feet in order to save one of those trees, well, then that's what you definitely do that. That's the right way to do it. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're gonna take a look at the property since it's been staked out. In this case, the client, the homeowner, is doing their own driveway, and I know he's started on the driveway, and he is in the process of putting that in right now. So I get to, last time I was here, I had to just pull right into the farm field. Now I get to pull onto a construction driveway. It looks like he's got about 300 feet of it done. That's pretty good. Good job, Joe. All right, so I just pulled onto the driveway here, and yeah, we're about like where it stops right there is about 300 feet off of the road here. We are out in Raymond, Wisconsin, and we are going to be building back into the woods back there. So here you can see the example of some of the trees that are in here. Shagbark, hickory trees. There's a huge oak tree way over there, but this is essentially, you can see where the stakes are here. See the pink one here, basically outlining the footprint of the home here. And so then what we want to do is determine, like, okay, this one here will probably need to be removed. These ones here will need to be removed. So this is where we will kind of determine what needs to be removed. So here's another tip you can do when you get the stakes that are in here and you come out here to look at it. It's really hard to tell what's what and to match things up. So you can kind of create an outline of the stakes that are laid, and then that gives you a kind of a clear view or picture of the footprint here. Well, I'm back home now. It's the end of the day. I forgot to finish making the video after we left the property. I had a bunch of stuff going on, but anyways, everything went really well there. So initially the client did not want to cut down any trees at all on the property, understandably, but it just wasn't possible to do that. If you're going to build in the woods like that, you're going to be taking down some trees. Now we of course want to save the big majestic ones, the ones that take forever to grow. Sometimes it's not possible to do that, but there were so many trees on the property, as you saw, that we ended up ultimately figuring out and deciding that the placement where we had the rough stakes, where we roped everything off with the pink ribbon, is the best place for the spot. Ultimately, you want to work with the grade of the property. So if you have a property that has a mound on it and the rest of it is low, the ideal spot to build a house is to put it on that mound. There was no really flat areas around there, so it didn't really make sense to move it anywhere else. So everything is good to go. We're going to have a goal of digging that house in 3 weeks. So we need to, I ribboned a couple trees that I want the tree guy to not cut down, but basically his instructions are anything within 25 feet of the ribbon of the outline of the house, cut down unless I have it marked. And so he's going to come out, he's going to give a quote. We're going to get those trees taken down within the next week. The client is going to finish up the driveway, and we should be digging their hole in 3 weeks from now. That's the goal. So that's all I got for this video. Hopefully that helps you a little bit with figuring out where to put a house on a big, large property that's not flat, that's wooded. It definitely is good information to have. So that's all I have until the next time I see you guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the day, and God bless.